So I'm here with Frank Salmon, and Frank Salmon's a professional treasure hunter. He's been doing this for a long time, and he's agreed to share some of his knowledge of what it takes to become a professional treasure hunter, what it takes to find, recover, and all that. And so with that said, Frank, take it away.
All right. I've known Terry for quite a while, and he's been asking me to do a show with him. I just wrote a book, and recently, and I'm sharing that with Terry. I've been digging in the ground for gold, gems, and history for 44 years, since I was 10 years old. I'm actually 54 years old now. During the week, I am an insurance agent. I work for a company called Dynamic Insurance out of Dallas, Texas. I love what I do. I'm an advocate for helping people with their final expenses and things like that, and making sure they're taken care of and treated right. And we take the weight off their family shoulders and assure that their final wishes are met, basically. I enjoy what I do. I'm actually in the process of starting my own exploration company, which is called Trove Research Incorporated, and that would be based out of New Mexico. And what we do is we work in commercial mining of precious metals and gems. I actually design my own jewelry. My wife and I, which is also a jewelry designer, we design and make our own jewelry, and we will probably end up starting a series of small art and jewelry galleries eventually, and selling our art and jewelry. I've had many adventures in my life. Like I said, I've been prospecting for many years. I started off at 10 years old reading Treasure Island. Basically, that kind of got me hooked. Joined the military, read about many legends over the years. After the Navy, I ended up in UTEP in El Paso, Texas. Got heavily involved after that in multiple lost treasure projects. Found lots of gold. Ended up in California, searched for some famous lost mines. I found a lost Padre mine in the Angeles National Forest. Took silver out of that. Dredged my own dredge mining claims for many years. Had claims in the California gold country. Had dredge mining claims on the Kern River, California. Mined gold and all over the United States at one time, all over the world. Dove for treasure on shipwrecks. Found treasure. Worked with all kind of people in the business, archaeologists, geologists, mining engineers, you name it. So over the years I've amassed a certain amount of knowledge, and it basically was to solve some of my own projects, which I can't really discuss in detail. Of course, you don't want to tell everybody your secrets, but I can say that I've really lived in my life, Terry, you know. And the cool thing is I've had all these great adventures in my life, but my real adventures, my biggest adventures in my life are happening right now. So that's the cool thing. And so I'm fulfilling some goals and dreams I've had for many years. I have projects that are up to 29 years old. So we're mining and doing things all over the place. A big part of what we'll be doing is consulting with others in their own projects. I've seen a lot of your videos, Terry, and they're awesome. And a lot of people I see, they may know where something is, or they're having trouble finding it, or something or another, and that's where I come in. A lot of people have called me a treasure closer. I come in with some pretty advanced toys and knowledge, and I use some of the most state-of-the-art electromagnetic imaging on the market, GPR, combined with LiDAR technology, thermal imaging, camera technologies. I am a dowser. I was trained by Louis Matesha. I've worked with him and his daughter for 29 years. I know Jeanette very well. I still communicate with Jeanette. You interviewed her on one of your shows. and she's a great gal. Her dad was a big inspiration to me personally. He taught me dowsing. Louis Metacia, he introduced dowsing to the 21st and 20th century.
Yep.
He invented the L-rod, which is a tool that I use today.
I didn't know he invented that.
Yes, he did. He's the guy that invented the L-rod. And he taught me everything I needed to know about dowsing by the time I was 24 years old. I was 23 or so when I met him, and he had come to several of my sites to help me solve some things at my own sites that I've been involved in for many years. I became a master dowser myself just several years back. I'm 54 years old. So see, it's a lifetime of study. Dowsing has always worked for me, basically because I have a belief in it. You have to have really a strong positive focus and attitude really for it to work properly. You have to look at it like this, and this is how Louis Metacia explained it to me. He said, imagine the universe, the earth, and everything that we know is joined together in ways. The same minerals are in our body as that are in the earth today. Okay? Now, the brain being such a powerful computer, you're able to tap into the earth's energies, and by focusing on certain minerals, for instance gold or water or silver or something, you lost your keys, whatever, right? By using certain techniques of focusing and visualization of certain objects such as gold and different minerals, the brain will help you. And by using certain instruments like dowsing instruments, pendulums and things, you can literally find anything. The great oil barons of the 20th century, they were all dowsers. A lot of people don't know that, but I do enjoy sharing the knowledge I have with others. I think knowledge, and you might agree with me, Terry, knowledge should be shared to better mankind. And everybody's trying to charge $1 nowadays to give you some information or something or another. If I never made a dime off my book, I don't care. At least I can share this knowledge with others, and they can learn from it and maybe get something out of it. I've been lucky to have been given some knowledge in my time, and I have certain knowledge. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for that knowledge, but it was given to me. And so I do like to share it. And that comes to helping others, when they need assistance, or, if I'm a placer mining specialist. I've been in placer mining, gold mining all my life, man. And I've amassed a great deal of knowledge. So I can help somebody learn how to use a sluice box in the river to moving 500 tons an hour from a huge processing system, man. Drilling. My exploration company will allow us to go to any property. We'll be able to drill that property every 15 feet to find the values. Now we back that up with LiDAR technology as well as electromagnetic imaging for 100 feet deep. Combined with a couple other technologies that I have to keep secret, what we do is eventually we create a 3D image of a property, a 3D map, you could say. So with this map, you're able to plan the most lucrative direction for your mining project to go. You know where the higher values are, you know where you'd like to start, you know where you might want to set up your processing plant because there might be no gold right there, Yeah. And so you don't want to put your plant on top of the best gold. And I've seen people do that, and they had to move the machine. They said, "Oh, damn, the gold was right there." I've seen it. It's funny, man. Funny stuff, but
and that's not cheap, because I work on
yes, you do.
Mining properties, myself, power plants, mining, and I'm in the process of working on moving a crusher right now, and it's costing them hundreds of millions to move this crusher.
I know it is. Those things are heavy.
Because of all the process that goes with it. So you're right, man. That's not cheap. You want to know where to put that before you start.
Not cheap at all.
Good thought. I've never even would have thought of that, but you're right.
Right. So they're in a matter of about 3 months, I'll have my own exploration company up and running in New Mexico, but I do travel some and help others. My other projects of my own there command half my time. So you know.
So I want to back you up.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about your book. Is your book just about mining? What's your book about?
Yes.
What is this?
Well, there is information about some of my own projects and adventures I've been on. There is a ton of history that I'm sharing in this book. A lot of it may be unknown. A lot of it's very controversial. I understand that. I'm not asking everybody to take a full belief in the information I'm putting in there. Just believe in the person that's giving it. You know, I'm a good man. I've spent my life acquiring this knowledge, and you know, there were cultures and people in this country tens of thousands of years before Columbus. That's just how it is, you know, and a lot of people know this, and mainstream archaeology knows what I'm about to tell you, but they don't want to admit it because it's very controversial.
Frank,
and
man, you're talking right up my...
Yes, sir.
What I enjoy searching.
Right.
Now I'm really interested.
One of my projects in New Mexico in a mountain range, there are very ancient signs. The site has to do has to do with Victoria Peak, as well as sites south in the Oregon Mountains. There was a man who is known. His name is Roger Snow. He's given me permission to share this knowledge, as well as Louis Cerna, that you did a show with. Become very good friends. There were people in this country, ancient Hebrews. The Knights Templar were in New Mexico. The Phoenicians were here. What happened, what Roger says, is the Templar Knights were refitting and trying to build up a castle that had a really good foundation. It was an old, crushed up castle in Tyre, which is, of course, Phoenicia and modern day Lebanon, right? Well, what happened? They got underneath this castle, from what Roger says. The Templar Knights found stone boxes that they called arks, treasures. In these stone boxes were the navigation charts to Ophir. In the Bible, this is the place the Phoenicians, the Templars, Templars later, but the Phoenicians and King Solomon's men went to get the gold they brought to King Solomon. I mean, you know, who knows? So it's conjecture. I'm still involved in the exploration of all this. But there are definite Templar signs and symbols right next to Phoenician signs and symbol. The horse of God, the logo for the Templar Knights, which is a horse with two riders. It's carved on a rock in a certain canyon in the Oregon Mountains. I'm about to go see this. Right next to other Templar crosses and Phoenician signs and symbols. Man, the ancient Hebrews, I mean, Hidden Mountain, southwest of Albuquerque. I've been there. I've been to the Decalogue Stone. I actually went there with a man who wrote a book about this site, and I had taken my team at the time, and I was able to see some signs and symbols there that few people have ever seen. Supposedly, there were signs that we were shown that were from the Magi. There was a group of a race from northern Africa that had left their signs there 10,000 years ago. I saw Egyptian Ankhs and many different cultures that left their signs there. Some of these have been dated, some have not. Some have been studied, and more needs to be studied. There's a vast cover-up, man, of knowledge that's being kept from the people, I believe. And I believe some of this stuff. Roger Snow, one of his relatives, which was a French Knights Templar named Ration, and he was found by people. He was basically in a tomb, he died in the Oregon Mountains and was left in a tomb, and his body was discovered. Pedro Navarro, the bandit that was captured in the 1800s, he told about crawling into a cave he thought was a cave, and there's an open chamber. It was a big chamber. Once he got into it, there was a sarcophagus there. He pushed the lid off, and there was a Knights Templar in full regalia, man.
Really?
Yeah, the whole thing, the sword, the ring. He saw the cross on the ring and the cross on the shield and everything. And,
Wow.
and Pedro Navarro was captured, and he was a bandit for many years. And he said, "Well, I'll tell y'all where all my golden treasure is if y'all let me go." And he wrote all this stuff down, and they still ended up killing him. Poor guy. But I mean, he was a bad guy, you know. And he left a series of treasures all over. He wrote about them, became legends in themselves. You know, I've studied all the legends over the years, and there's always some sense of truth to them. You know, and a lot of these people you work with, and a lot of your videos, they understand some of these legends are associated with what they do. You know, and when you have the ability to really go in and see what is there, to understand it with the right tools. You know, the technology that we have today is so advanced, and I'm on top of it. You know, I'm a techie guy, and of course, being I'm actually studying for a bachelor's in archaeology, and I consider myself more of an archaeologist than a treasure hunter, because I'm more concerned with understanding the history involved and proving the history.
Frank, man, no wonder I like you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've always liked you, Terry. You're a good dude, man. But yeah, to really understand that history and to be able to share it is amazing in itself. But when you actually get to rewrite history, I mean, that's a blessing right there within itself, you know? I mean, think about it. I mean, you could actually share with people history that you've rewritten or proven, let's say. If you could prove that history, you know, to me, it's about the facts. You gotta really delve in to these legends and these things, and you gotta understand the facts. So sometimes, you can't prove it. You know, maybe it's hidden, too well. The Spaniards were tricky guys, as well as the Indians, and all these people that hid these treasures over the years. There are so many documented and undocumented treasures and histories of the Southwest all over the place. You look at the Pueblo Indian Revolt alone, 1680. The Spanish had vast mining operations all over the place. During 1680, when the Indians revolted against the Spanish, man, it's believed they had kicked them out between 10, 15 years or so, and the Spaniards were gone for all that time. I mean, the Indians went back and hit all these sites and put dirt over them and planted cactus over them, and today we have thousands of legends literally all over the place, and these treasures exist on a capacity that I couldn't even tell you, man, because it's so great. It's a lot more than people realize and that we're taught, but there is a vast wealth of historical treasures out there, and that's what I do. I go out and seek them and try to prove this history. So I've been doing it a long time, and like I was saying, my biggest adventures are still ahead. I'm looking forward to this. I'm actually in Utah right now with Terry. I'm from Texas, and I'm working with my business partners right now to finance my company. I'll be in New Mexico. But yeah, you can always reach me through Terry Carter, and he has all my contact information.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you to have help you, or how do they get? Because man, I get 100 emails a day. I just do not have time to physically, and I feel bad, but I am so busy, I just don't have time to get to everybody, and then pretty soon it gets pushed down, and I'm thinking, man, I'm not getting to these people. So how do they get a hold of you?
Well, they can either do that through you directly, or through my company email, which is frank.troveresearchinc, TROVE research INC @gmail.com. You can reach me through my email anytime. I'll get right back to you. So I'm up for my group and company is very interested in some consulting work, and of course we have our own multiple projects involved in historical discoveries, mining precious metals, gems, all kind of things we do. I go to Nevada. I'm out in Fire Opal in Nevada, and multiple locations in the U.S. to mine different gemstones. Then I have my own claims in New Mexico and other places where we mine gold nuggets. You take a gold nugget and you turn it into a piece of jewelry. It has a much higher value, and we take that and sell it in the art and jewelry gallery, and couples spread out in New Mexico. But like I said, we love to consult, and there are people with projects in mining, historical discoveries, lost treasures, any archaeologists out there that need help, people that may know where something is, but not sure exactly where it is. We have the tools and technology to help you find it. We love doing it. And, for a small percentage, I'm more concerned with going out and helping people fulfill their dreams, and being able to really help them prove what they believe in, and that's a big thing. There's so many greedy people out there, man. I'm telling you, you got to watch who you do business with in this business, because people will kill you for $1, man. Downtown, any big city nowadays. So you just got to be careful, and you need to understand if you're going to get involved in gold prospecting, mining for gold commercially, or you want to get into dredging for gold, you want to get into anything like that, man, take the time to understand exactly what you're getting into. Because chances are, if you do your research right, which you'll read any book, research is 96% of the whole thing. If you're going to research your property right, know where your gold is, where your treasures are located, great. But man, there is a host of technologies nowadays that I use a host of metal detectors from Mine Lab, Fisher, different types of electromagnetic imaging, magnetic imaging, the latest, the GPR technologies. We're able to go in and really see, underground. And I have some pretty amazing projects I'm involved in directly with my own work, and I got all this knowledge from trying to solve my own projects, and trying to do my own deals over the years,
So with that said, that's what it takes. You do the research, you get in the area, but some of this stuff, if you don't have the right equipment, and some of the right equipment is expensive. Sure. LiDAR, 40 grand. Ground penetrating radar, 40 grand. It's tough, and so. Yeah. Well,
the LiDAR system that we're working with, it's around $165,000.
Oh man!
Just for that unit, dude.
I was cheap, wasn't I?
Yeah, yeah, big time. And the electromagnetic imaging system I use, the same system was used in Egypt to find an underground lost city in Egypt. And the Amazon, we've used the LiDAR to find ancient lost cities and other things, man. It just takes the LiDAR in itself, just takes the canopy of brush and trees away, and you see everything, the roads, the trails, the mines, but having the ability really to go to any, not necessarily any, because it depends on the soil conditions for electrotraumatic imaging. To be able to see underground for 100 feet in real-time color 3D imagery, to be able to distinguish from ferrous and non-ferrous metals to voids, to find what you're really looking for.
To 100 feet, that's huge, and that's important.
The system I used to use, the best system that
30,
accurate locators made, went 300 feet.
Really?
Well, the oil companies invented a lot of those technologies. The German people enhanced it and kind of invented the electromagnetic, imaging of today that we know of. My unit I use is from Germany. It's a German-made product. Luckily, it's all in English. It's because I don't speak German, but they have different languages they can do. It's amazing. It has the latest software on the market, and it's just a really clear readout. I love it. So we're using that. And the best mine lab gold detectors. We can go in with to a placer, let's say placer mining operation. I've worked in hard rock mining, drilled, I used explosive, worked with explosive experts in hard rock mining and all that. And all that can be very lucrative, but I prefer placer mining operations, and I just know so much about it and been involved with so many different projects, moving hundreds of tons an hour. I can see where a lot of guys make mistakes, and I go in and can assist people with their operations, whatever they're doing, 10 tons, 500 tons an hour, and I can look at their whole system and literally improve not only their production, their sluice system may not be running at full capacity where it needs to catch all the gold, and I can help people, show them how to catch very, very fine gold in that kind of operation. I've invented a process of mining of my own that you can go anywhere basically with no water.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I bring in 2 tanks, and the water is brought into 2 fairly decent sized tanks that are set side by side. Those are filled with water.
And then they're recycled or something? Or?
Well, that goes through a mini centrifugal processor, and all your gold and everything is run through a sluice box. The water runs down to a canal that's rubberized, that runs to a large rubber tank. A section of that is cleaned and is sectioned off to where the water in that area is purified. That water is pumped back up to the tanks and it's recirculated. It's a very unique system. I've been told I should patent it, and so we're thinking about doing that. I don't know, maybe not, but it can be duplicated in multiple areas. It's a turnkey system. You can take all the parts, have all the parts, and set up a full mining operation doing 25 to 40 yards an hour in a week, and it's awesome, amazing. I'm using this in all my claims in New Mexico to mine gold nuggets. It has no water, and so that's why I actually came up with the system. But I think it would be something that would benefit a lot of people and companies. Yeah. I mean, in Canada and some other places, they use systems very similar, but on a much larger scale, and the water is recycled to process material and stuff. So, yeah. Pretty amazing system. So, we use a host of technologies to run the material that we run. Not everything is put through the box. We want to put processed material we've used a host of technologies on in gold detectors to find out the hot material. We put it in, run it, and come out with a bunch of gold nuggets and dust, man. It's awesome. So multiple processes and systems that I've used, which I've come up with myself over periods of time, working with some top guys in the business, over the years. Louis Matasha, one of my heroes is Dave McCracken, New 49ers in Northern California. He's had one of my website links on his website for many years. Larry Williams, I don't think you even heard of him.
Yep, I have.
You have heard of Larry Williams. He was one of my teachers. Yes, sir. Yeah, Larry Williams, a lot of these guys, and I was just fortunate to learn from them, Terry. I took that knowledge and enhanced it 100-fold.
Cool. And
just what I am today, So, yeah, I'm no better than anybody else, but, I have certain knowledge. I'd love to be able to share it with people, and be able to help them as they need it. I'm going to find great success in my own work, and I know that. But, if you can't give it back, that knowledge to others, what good is it? You can't just hold it to yourself. You can't just keep it in and say, well, this is my knowledge and I'm not going to share it with nobody. You got to help some people along the way. That's what I like to do.
That's a good heart, people that will do that.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so, I heard Louis Matasha is going to be in a nursing home now close to Jeanette, and I dedicated my book to him, and it's not fully edited yet. I will be doing another show with Terry with instruction on dowsing, some other things. He's asked me to do a couple different videos with him. We're going to do that, try to help some people. And along the way, maybe I can give you guys a better understanding of what you're doing, give you some instruction, a little bit of knowledge that I have. I'm happy to share it along the way there. But do you have any questions for me, Terry?
So you've hit a lot of different subjects that I'm extremely interested in.
Right.
So somebody that's just starting out treasure hunting, what do you recommend? How do they go about it? Say they've heard a story from their grandfather or something, and they're going to go out and research it, and they're going to go out and check it. What's the steps that they've got to take to validate it so that they're not wasting their time? What would you do?
Well, of course, you want to really research it as good as you can. I mean, you might have a story about something that may be very historical. Maybe you read a story about a legend that could be very rich. A lot of people blindly run off the hills, man, and they end up getting killed or something or another. I mean, go out and survive. That's the biggest thing, is you want to come back from these adventures. But take the time to do further research and really verifying what you're looking for, because you might be off in some aspect. There is a lot of knowledge you should learn about finding treasures, because like I said before, we have a ton of new all kind of technology out there that the old timers didn't have. Okay, like I'm mining gold in a place that these miners all went down to an ancient river. Learn about ancient rivers, man, if you're mining gold. Okay, that's a big thing. These miners, brought all this gold out of these mines, and all these tailings are piled up, but they had to visually see this gold. Find the old mines. Get a good metal. If you're mining gold, if that's your interest in mining gold, let's say, get a good gold detector. Get an all-around gold detector. I mean, Mine Lab's got some amazing gold detectors. They got a really affordable one right now that's just a few $100, couple $100 to get. You can get one on eBay. Simple. Learn about survival. Learn about how to survive outdoors.
That's an important one.
Yes.
Because you never know what you're gonna. I've gotten myself into some bad situations.
Right.
And that happens, man, quicker than you could believe. And so you got to be careful. And you're right about that.
Learn about the plants that are their medicinal qualities, where you're going, how to survive off the land if you have to. Dowsing in itself. Learn about dowsing. I'll teach you dowsing. If you want to call me personally, I'll give you a whole course on dowsing. I won't charge you a thing. I'll just give you the knowledge. I mean, if that helps you survive, the dowsing can get you to water, whatever you need. My dad and I
never thought about that, but that's
my dad
that's
and
a
I
great idea.
My dad and I went on an adventure in California up this trail, and we crawled back down the trail and went a different way, and we were lost. We were at the bottom. We finally got to the bottom, and man said, "Where's the car?" I said, "I don't know, man." And so we was hiking out that way. We thought the car would be in this direction, and we couldn't find the car. And so I picked up the dowsing rods. I said, "Well, come on." Started focusing on the car. Where's the car? And it went like this, the opposite way we were walking. And my dad's like, "Okay." So we start walking toward where the dowsing rods are walking us to, and getting there, and went over one hill, and it was pointing right to the car. There was a car right there. So, I mean,
really?
You don't know.
I never would have thought of something like
dude.
that.
Yeah, but you lose your keys in your house. You can use dowsing rods to find your keys. I use it to find gold and things like that. Water if I need to, but I mean, you can find treasure with dowsing rods. There's a man I know, he has some YouTube videos. He goes and finds coins and treasure and stuff. He don't even use metal detectors. All he does is use dowsing rods, and he goes and digs up coins right out of the ground. He finds them with a dowsing rods. I'm not even joking. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The guys the oil magnates that were the big time oil guys back in the day in the 20th century, they were all dowsers, man. That's how they found the oil they found, man. No joke. Yeah. But pick one thing I can not stress enough, man, is pick your partners very, very carefully.
Oh man, you are 100% right now.
Yeah.
Go finish that, because that is important.
Yes, sir. Because I mean, you can be out on the verge of finding something important, or finding a catch of coins or stuff you don't know. And I mean, I've seen what greed does to the best of men.
I have too.
And I've been screwed over, with hundreds of thousands of dollars before with partners, and nearly had my throat cut a couple times, man. No joke. And I mean, people, I've just seen what greed does to men's hearts, and it's sad, and they could have gotten everything out of me. I would have given them the world, and they got greedy, and so it's sad. But yeah, make sure you get to know the people very well that you involve yourself with in this type of business, either mining gold, or some of the best people and the best times that I've literally had in my life has been mining gold out in the wilderness with families and people. I made some of the best friends I'll ever have in life. You know, if you're gold prospecting, you know, look into joining clubs like the GPAA. I mean, I used to, you know, I've mined gold for a long time, and I was working the GPA in California when old Buzzer Massey was still kicking, you know, and that's one of the probably the best organizations. They have the largest organization for people getting into gold mining and everything nowadays. And I mean, the new 49ers in California, of course, in California it's illegal to dredge, and man, those guys are getting the shaft there. They won't let them suction dredge there, and won't let them clean those rivers, and just because some stupid little fish, and you know, they don't even hurt the fishes. You know, when you dredge a river, you clean out all the heavy metals and things out of the soil, and the trash and the garbage and the junk in the river, and you clean these rivers. And I've never hurt a single fish, and I've dredged for hundreds of hours, you know. But, you know, the government's going to step in every now and then and stop us. But, hey, you know, I'm not dogging the government, but, you know, just these guys are just giving the shaft, I think. And there's a lot of good organizations out there you can get involved in, man, to learn about lost treasure hunting, metal detecting clubs, Gold Prospectors Association of America, man, they're awesome. I've been involved with them for years, and I like doing my own projects, but from time to time I've gone and worked on claims with these guys, and some of the best times in my life, man, you know, just, and I was a cook in the Navy, and cooking is a big hobby of mine, and they love having the cook around, because I come in and we cook it up outdoors, man. I tell you, some good stuff. You know, it's great times. You know, I can't stress enough of getting involved with some clubs to learn. And these guys a lot of these guys in these clubs, man, have been prospecting and treasure hunting for all their lives. And I mean, they'll teach you everything they know. They're some of the best guys you'll ever meet. And you know, plan your trips accordingly, man. Do your research. Find out where you're going. You know, if you do the right research and you take the time, human beings are stubborn, and we like to take the easy route sometimes. We just like to get a little bit of information, run off, and man, I've been stranded in the middle of nowhere doing that before, man. You know, I was stranded 50 miles from the nearest paved road one time, and that was tough getting out of that sucker, let me tell you. And we didn't prepare our vehicle right. Make sure your vehicle's running. You don't want to get stuck in the middle of nowhere. You know, yeah, that can be a tough one. Happened to me a couple times, but we always survived. You know, I've led expeditions literally all over the world at one time or another, hunted lost historical treasures, lost mines and everything, and I've been very fortunate to have never lost anyone. Very fortunate, because I'm always prepared. I take the extra time it takes to you know, make sure my gear is there, all the equipment I need, all the tools, the first aid, you know, that my battery is good in my car, you know, and you know, these little things, you know, are just so important. I can't stress it enough. You know, make sure that you're prepared 100%. I mean, you know, if you don't have the right people with you, you know, the right tools, you know, the right knowledge and where you're going, and the right money. You want to have a little bit of money back, and you be able to go out and afford to go do this kind of thing. If you're missing one of those four things, you're going to fail. You know, you got to have the right tools and technology. Today's tools are important. I mean, we have metal detectors that'll tell you how deep something is, what it is. I mean, old timers didn't have stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, really, you know, I mean, but I find that, you know, the biggest thing I think is people don't take enough time to really research what they're doing. You know, if you do, or even if you have researched it and you kind of know where it is, hey, give me a call. Maybe I can give you some tips. I don't even necessarily have to go out there to help you. I might be able to give you a little bit of knowledge to help you find what you're looking for. Who knows? But we do love consulting. I'm involved with some very highly trained individuals. You know, my security guy is ex-Force Marine Force Recon. You know, he comes out with me, Special Forces. Man, I have the best of the best working with me. I'm very fortunate in that, you know. But, you know, I chose my people well because over a period of time, they've earned my trust, you know. And that's the most important thing out of all of it. You know, if you've got good people you can trust, man, that is just a blessing, and it just ensures your success. Because when you're all in agreement and you trust each other and you believe and you know where you're going and you have the right tools, you're going to succeed. You put yourself in that instance enough times, and you're in the instance out there all the time right now, right? So yeah, the more you put yourself in the instance of seeking fortunes and treasure and whatever, and you have the right tools, the right knowledge, and the right people, you're going to succeed one way or the other. Eventually you will. Just don't give up. You know, I've seen a lot of people get involved in mining and different things and see how hard work it is. There's some hard work involved. And they're like, well, I don't know about this, man. This is a little, man, I'm tired. It would kick my butt. I don't know if I want to do this, you know. And they give up. You know, it's just sad because, you know, some of the best times I've had has been busting my butt out there and sticking with it, and then eventually finding enough gold to call it a day. Or it's the thing is, it's got to pay. They say in mining, it's got to pay for the amount of energy that you expend to get it. So if you're not finding any gold prospecting there, move down the stream. You might find it there. That's what prospecting is all about, is seeking the path of gold. And if you can learn in a river to follow the path of gold in itself, I mean, that's a gift.
And that's the way they did it the old timers.
That's it.
That's the way the old timers
They knew what they were, how to follow the path.
They would follow it upstream till they come to the end of it. Then they'd
yes, sir.
figure out which side of the mountain or wherever it came from and follow it up the mountain. Yeah.
There's a lot of lost knowledge, man, in that regard. And people from our past, you know, they wrote things down, and there's a lot of knowledge we should seek that is prior knowledge in the past centuries and how they did these things. You know, we learn from our past. You know, if we can study the past, that's what archaeologists do. They go and they try to learn from their past and try to rewrite history or discover new history, you know, and that's what it's all about, you know, is being able to, in the end, you know, share this history with the world. You know, one day I would love to do that with my own work and projects. But yeah, I've been on some amazing adventures myself, and have dove for treasure and found treasure in the oceans, on land, and found lots of gold mining, ran mining claims for many years. We had a claim on the Kern River, and we looked up and down that river, man, for markers. You know, we wanted to set up a claim of our own there. You had a very ancient river that scoured the top of those mountains, and it left all kind of alluvial gold down, fine gold and ancient blue gold. You know, when gold is in a microscopic form, it turns blue and it comes over your sluice box. And a lot of guys don't know what that blue stuff is. That's gold. Save it. Yeah, and you know, we had set up our dredge, you know, our little 6-inch dredge. We had set it up there in the river. There, I lived in Anaheim, California at the time, and my dive team lived with me, and we traveled all over, dredge mining, diving for treasure, all over, right, at the time. And so we were up and down this river. We didn't find any claim markers or anything. And we had set up the dredge. We had been dredging for a couple hours, and this old man and his son and his dog were up the hill there, and they started coming down and said, "Hey, how you guys doing?" They said, "Why y'all on my claim?" I said, "Sir, I'm sorry if we're on your claim, but I walked up and down this river for a mile. I didn't see a single claim marker." I mean, really, you know, you could at least mark your claim. You know, we're sorry, you know, and I apologized to him. Before I knew it, I gave him a bottle of wine, and we were best friends, you know, and I split all the gold we had found in that little time. He says, "Man, you know what, y'all can come here and mine anytime you want, man. I like you guys, you know." We got along with them, and that we had we were dredging that day. We had a gentleman come up the river with all his fishing gear, and he said, "Man, he was the best fisherman of all time, man. He's going to bring back all these fish, and bring it back. We'll cook it up for you, partner." And he came back at the end of the day with some fishies, and he walked around the tree, and there's a big long rope with probably 8 giant trout. And this guy is like, "What? Where did you guys get these out of?" I didn't see them that big. I said, "Dude, we're divers, bro. We got spear guns, man. We're down there in the bottom of the river spearfishing." And we spearfish one, and then bring him the rope, and they'd pull the fish up, and he'd be dead, and you know, we'd string him up, and we'd take him home with us, and we'd fill up 2 ice chests like this of fish, man. And he couldn't believe it. He said, we'll bring your little fishies over here, and we'll cook them up too, buddy." And, it was funny. You had to be there, kind of thing. But yeah, we have some great times out mining for gold, different things. Yeah, I've come into some other knowledge I would love to share with you with another video, an extended video, and I have extensive information that I would love to share with you in regard to my book and some knowledge I've come into,
cool.
Some of the history of the New World, and the people that were here. I've been fortunate enough to have learned some things from others. They've given me permission. I mean, look at Louis Serna. He found these stone pillars in New Mexico,
yeah.
and I mean, the crosses look Templar. I mean, we don't know for sure, but I mean, it's pretty possible. It was very possible that the Templars could have been in New Mexico. I mean, in Casa Grande, Arizona, a shell was found. A large conch shell was found in a ruin that may have been built by the Templars.
In Casa Grande?
Yes, and the really? Shell had this whole chronological voyage, Templars crosses and everything of information they carved into this shell, man.
Where's that at?
I don't know where the shell is today, but I could find out. I think it still exists.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Because I've visited Casa Grande. So.
Awesome. But yeah, there are some knowledge, I believe, that has just been kept from us, and it's stuff that's not
I agree 100%
taught
with you.
in schools, and I think people should know. I mean, you don't have to believe everything I'm telling you, man. Do your own research, figure it out, but there's a vast amount of knowledge that's available to us. Like I was saying, the mainstream archaeology, they don't want to mess up their reputation, and I understand that. I don't I'm not saying anything against them.
Well, there is a lot of fraud out there too, and they're taught that this is history, and it doesn't deviate for that. So if it deviates from that, they're automatically in their mind think of fraud, and they don't want to deal with it. And so I can understand that too. But it's for the stuff that is real. That's a travesty that we're not getting the true history.
Yeah,
it's a travesty for the people out there that are doing fraud, and messing things up.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, so there is a lot of fraud out there. There is a lot of legitimate things out there as well that need further study, let's just say.
I agree.
I deal in facts, man, and I want to be able to go and prove some of this knowledge and history and add it to my book, man,
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, if you can really prove some history, to rewrite history, that's an amazing gift. Share it with the world, to teach people, what this history really was. And so we're working on it all the time and trying to prove the facts. We have a lot of work ahead of me and my team. I've been offered a couple TV shows, some stuff, working with the Discovery Channel possibly down the road, doing some things. I want to get my whole company up and running first before I delve all into that, and I have a lot of work to do first, setting up some of my own mining operations and things. I'd love to come back to Utah and do some stuff here, man, when it's not as cold.
I got some stuff we can work on, Frank.
Awesome. I was in Missouri for several days, and one of the people that is related to my business partner, we were there. They have a huge quartz rock out in the yard, and I took samples of it. I have some samples for you, and so maybe at the mine you might want to crush it down and see if there's any values in it, and we'll get together on that. I mean, that is some rusty, gnarly looking quartz, man. Oh dude, it's good looking stuff. And I've crushed stuff like it before and got some real big values from it. And you see this quartz running through the rock in these rivers or anywhere. Put your metal detector on it, man. Get you one of these, man. This is the best rock pick Estwing ever made. And you get something like this to bust up some rocks.
Long handled, you can do a good swing of it. Yeah.
It's about as good as it gets in rock pick. This is the Estwing rock pick. You get something like that, or a decent rock pick. They got different ones that are out there. You can't fail. It'll help you in many ways. But yeah, I want to test this rock because it's about a 3 to 4 ton plus rock. I mean, as that thing has got values going all through it, they might have some money sitting in their yard. They don't even know. So I just was able to recognize that this material was quartz, but it had just a massive amount of rusty colored iron oxides and different materials in it, and a lot of quartz in it. Of course, gold will travel with these heavy materials, and a lot of times you can look out for stuff like that. You find some gold, man. There's a lot of these hard rock mines. That's what they look for. They want to find that rusty quartz material, man, and they mine it, you know, and they blow that stuff up and cart it out and crush it up. I don't necessarily like being under the ground too much, even though I've done it many times. I prefer to be in the open land. I enjoy placer mining. Placer mining is really more alluvial mining, which you got gold in the matrix of all of the soil and the rock and in certain areas of the mine in different degrees. So that's why you want to go in and test it. You want to be able to to see where the higher values are. So we use a corkscrew core drill to bring up the values in different properties, and we're able to find the real values by drilling. You get a good placer mine, and if you're not drilling it, you're not finding the real values. And there's going to be people out there listening to this right now and says, man, that guy knows his stuff. And it's not that I do, but I've learned this over years of working in different placer mining operations. And to understand and truly understand what you have, if you're going to go and spend money, thousands of dollars on a piece of property, man, it's got to pay.
Yeah.
You want to drill it, and we use a host of other technologies to be able to verify it in a further capacity, and be able to really truly understand what a property has. People may know where something is buried. I mean, to go in and be able to distinguish between a non-ferrous and a ferrous object, I mean, that's it right there. If you're trying to find a void underground, you're trying to find a lost tunnel. You got a tunnel in your property, for instance, that is there, but you just can't find it. Give me a call, man. Send me an email, man. We'll come out and help you. It'll be great. It'll be a great time. I love nature and the outdoors, and we come out and we have the best time, and help a few people along the way. It's awesome.
So with that, Frank, thank you for sharing that with us and being willing to share. And I
Very
look
welcome.
forward to seeing your book when it comes out. And with that said, that's a wrap.
Have a good night.